Antonio Gutierrez for some opening remarks. We are very fortunate that the Secretary General will be able to stay with us for about 30 minutes. So, Mr. Secretary General, if I could hand you the floor, sir.
Thank you very much, Excellencies, distinguished participants, dear friends. The world is shifting from analog to digital technology at a faster pace than we could ever have predicted. This creates both vast promise and some peril. The COVID pandemic has magnified the many benefits and harms of the digital world. Technology is enabling the life-saving work of healthcare providers, allowing businesses to operate remotely, educating our children and connecting us with friends and family. But we also have seen technology gravely misused. Hate speech, discrimination and abuse are on the march in digital spaces. Misinformation campaigns put health and lives at risk. In response, the United Nations has launched the Verified initiative to increase the volume and reach of accurate information on the crisis. Life-threatening cyber attacks on hospital systems threaten to disrupt life-saving care. We are at a critical point for technology governance. Digital connectivity is indispensable, both to overcome the pandemic and for a sustainable and inclusive recovery, but we cannot let technology trends get ahead of our ability to steer them and protect the public good. We could see further fragmentation of the internet to the detriment of all. Excellencies, dear friends, this is the backdrop to the roadmap for digital cooperation that we are launching today. The roadmap is a guide for a multilateral, multi-stakeholder way forward in the age of digital interdependence. Building on the report of the high-level panel on digital cooperation, it set out 8 areas where we can come together and pursue the imperative for global action on digital cooperation. The overriding aim of the roadmap is to connect, respect, and protect people in the digital age. The United Nations will be a facilitator and a platform, mobilizing partnerships and coalitions within governments, citizens, civil society, academia, and industry. His diverse panel of distinguished speakers exemplifies the inclusive approach we need. Allow me to suggest what some of the first steps could be. First, on universal connectivity. We must convene leaders in connectivity to establish baselines, targets, and metrics for connectivity and affordability, and then to support emerging efforts and develop new financing models. Together, we can achieve the target of ensuring that every person has safe and affordable access to the internet by 2030. Second, digital public goods. We need a concerted effort, a global effort from member states, the UN system, private sectors, and others to promote open source software, open data, open AI models, open standards, and open content that adhere to privacy, applicable laws, and do no harm. This is a vast potential to help us achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. Third, digital inclusion efforts that reach all, including the most vulnerable. The proposed Digital Inclusion Coalition will help develop metrics and scorecards to accelerate an inclusive digital ecosystem that addresses the growing digital gender gap and reaches the most vulnerable, including migrants, refugees, and others. Fourth, digital capacity building through expanded training programs and support. The United Nations system stands ready to work with national governments on efforts to meet these global needs, which will require greater coherence and coordination. Fifth, digital human rights. The roadmap addresses issues including data protection and privacy, digital identities, surveillance technology, as well as online harassment and abuse. It calls for human rights to be put at the center of regulatory frameworks and legislation on the development and use of digital technology. Six, artificial intelligence, an area that poses some of the greatest challenges to ethics, policy, and governance. We need to ensure that all perspectives, particularly those of developing countries, are part of the conversation. The roadmap offers the United Nations as a platform to strengthen global cooperation on AI so that it is trustworthy, human rights-based, sustainable and safe, and promotes peace. Seventh, digital trust and security. The international community must come together at the highest levels to prioritize and safeguard the digital technologies that underpin core social functions and critical infrastructure such as access to food, water, housing, energy, healthcare, and transportation. I urge you to continue exploring the value of a universal statement, which acknowledges the strong linkage between the principles of digital trust and security and our ability to realize the 2030 agenda. Finally, global digital cooperation. I will work with all of you to implement the proposals to enhance the Internet Governance Forum so that it can guide efforts to build a more effective architecture for digital cooperation. I also intend to appoint an envoy on technology to push forward the United Nations work on this issue. Excellencies, dear friends, today's digital landscape offers us an opportunity, but if we don't take that opportunity, it could quickly turn into a threat.
What do you see when you imagine the future? When we picture what's to come, we often think of innovations that take us to new heights. Some of them are already here, and every day, thousands more make the jump from our imagination into reality. Nowhere is this more evident than here in Japan. Fourth Industrial Revolution technologies are fundamentally transforming the way we do things. All this is happening so fast, and we must do more than just keep up. These emerging technologies open up boundless possibilities of what our future could look like. Technology is not a simple solution to our problems. It poses questions that we need to answer and guidelines we need to write together. That's why we're all here, a global event hosted by Japan that brings together the world's leading voices across disciplines and geographies. How technology will shape our tomorrow depends on the choices we make today, and that starts now.
Hi there, and welcome everyone to a very important panel today on shaping the future of the data economy. And the stats show that by 18 years old, a person is defined by at least 70,000 data points, and the data generated about us and harnessed by technology is deeply connected with our lived personhood. And how we think about managing the trust and people side and technology and governance side of this new trend of personalization is